Voters in Sulphur Springs will soon head to the polls to consider the school district's newest bond package. KLTV7's J.D. Conti spoke with the superintendent on why they believe it's time for several upgrades.
Sulphur Springs ISD is hoping the 4th is with them for the upcoming bond election on May 4th. The district is proposing a $157 million package.
It's time that our children are able to attend school in some updated, up-to-date, newer facilities.
If passed, the package would fund 2 brand new elementary schools. It would also renovate 3 existing elementary schools. Barbara Bush Primary would be renovated to serve K through 5. The Douglas Center would change to serve pre-K students. Bowie Primary would be converted into office space for special program staff. All the buildings would see needed modernization, including ADA compliance and more, says Superintendent Deana Steeber.
Our oldest building that we would be replacing is 70 years old. So, there's just some deterioration and things like that that come with buildings of this age.
Issues that have interrupted learning, says Steeber. Crickets have been a problem at several campuses, along with facility issues.
We had, at one of our primary campuses, we had a sewer line collapse underneath the building early in the fall, and so we had to bring in portable restrooms for students and staff to use for about 30 days.
The last successful bond the district passed was in 2009. 2 proposals failed in 2022. If passed, the average Sulphur Springs resident's property tax would increase by $1.47 a year. If passed, the projects would affect around half of the district's students. Steeber says they prioritize elementary schools to plan for the future.
Renovations to secondary facilities would come at a later date, whenever that time would be right.
J.D. Conti, KLTV 7 News.
The school district will be holding its last town hall meeting on the bond tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at Sulphur Springs Elementary School. Early voting begins this coming Monday and then April 22nd and then runs until the 30th. Election day is May the 4th.